let's look at how Kansas failed Darryn Peterson in his rookie year. So the main issue with Kansas' roster this year was the complete absence of shooters other than Darryn. This is something I want to highlight about Darryn's freshman season because I think it's something that isn't being talked about nearly enough in NBA draft media, at least, because I know that I'm sure if I'm seeing it, so are NBA GMs, including Wizards GM Will Dawkins and other guys at the top of the draft. When they watch the same film, I'm sure they're seeing the same things about Kansas' complete lack of shooting and how that impacted Darryn's ability to get downhill, get to the rim, finish at the rim, and play make for others by getting downhill and using his burst and his athleticism that was fairly limited this year, but I think it wasn't helped by Kansas's complete lack of spacing. So before we start watching the tape, I just want to take a quick look at the stats of every Kansas starter other than Darryn Peterson and their three-point percentages and volumes. So let's start out looking at Melvin Council's stats. He shot 31% from three on 3 attempts per game. The year before at St. Bonaventure, he shot 30% from three on 4 attempts per game. And his freshman year, he shot 27% from three on 3.5 attempts per game. Now let's look at Bryson Tiller, who here, as we see, shot 27% from three on 1.5 attempts per game. Now Kansas' big man, Floyd Badunga, obviously a non-shooter. He shot 0 threes on the season, so he's not a floor spacer at all. Now let's look at Trey White, and this is an interesting case because he shot 40% from three on the season. He only shot 4 attempts per game, and as you'll see in the clips we watch, a lot of the time he just wasn't respected as a three-point shooter. His shot he kind of winds up a little bit. It takes a while to come out of his hands, and a lot of his shots were wide open this year that he did take. He didn't take a lot of threes, obviously with the 4 per game, so he's not a great shooter. He shot 33% last year at Illinois, the year before his year at Kansas, and then the year before that at Louisville shot 30%. This is all on 2 threes per game, and then his freshman year, 27% on 1.5 threes per game. So Trey White's never been a great shooter. This past year, he got a lot better, but he still is not a great shooter. And if he's your second best guy, you're in trouble. Now let's get into the tape and see how all of these poor shooters around Darryn Peterson impacted his ability to be effective on the ball at Kansas. Start out with this play right here, where Darryn's coming off the ball, comes and grabs it, tries to get downhill, but you see Mark Mitchell, 25, right here, playing in the gap, playing off of Trey White because he doesn't respect him as a shooter. Takes away the drive from Darryn. He's unable to get downhill, but even if he were to get downhill, look at this spacing down here. You got Tiller, not spaced out in the corner like he should be. You got Badunga, who's a non-shooter near the basket. And then you got this guy playing off of Melvin Council completely. So the lane is completely clogged right now. So even if Darryn wanted to drive, even if Mark Mitchell wasn't here helping, there would be no clear lane for Darryn to get downhill. So he makes the right pass to Trey White, wide open three, and he just doesn't knock it down. Now, luckily, Kansas grabbed the offensive rebound, so they pull it back out. Let's see what happens here. Darryn has the ball in his hands. Once again, Missouri playing in the gaps. See Mark Mitchell down here. Helps off Melvin Council once again because he doesn't respect him as a shooter. Comes over, stops Darryn's drive, leaves Council wide open, and Council doesn't take the three, gives it back to Darryn, and now the offense is stagnant. And you've got Darryn trying to make something out of nothing because Council's unwilling to shoot a shot. Once again, Council wide open because Mitchell helping out, Council's man helping out on Darryn once again, stopping his drive, leaving Council wide open. Doesn't take it, swings it to Bryson Tiller, another rough shooter, and he can't knock it down either. So this is just bad modern college basketball spacing right here. You don't have enough shooters on this roster for a functional offense, even with a 20-point efficient scorer like Darryn Peterson. It just made life even harder on him. So, this next time, a minute later in the game, Darryn gets a ball screen from Badunga, and he's just going to pull up for three, make the tough shot. But here, what I want you to notice is where the Missouri defenders are when Darryn pulls a shot. You've got Bryson Tiller's man in the corner over here, completely underneath the basket. Doesn't care about the skip pass, not worried about if Peterson makes his pass all the way over to Tiller, he's not worried about Tiller shooting that three because he's not a good shooter. You've got number 0 here who's supposed to be guarding Trey White. He's completely sagging off of him, helping out in the paint in case Darryn tries to get downhill. And then you've got Council's man gapping Melvin Council, not worried about him shooting, just taking away this middle drive if Darryn wanted to get downhill. So this is just terrible spacing once again. Darryn decides I'm just going to pull up for a three because I'm the best player on the court and no one on my team can space the floor for me to make plays. Now for all the talk about Darryn's lack of assists, his assist totals on the year, I think this play sums it up pretty well. You've got Darryn driving into a driving lane, gets a screen from Badunga here, and you got 6 completely helping off of Trey White. Now in the NBA, this is a wide open three. Like this is enough space for a wide open three. But Trey White, he's not shot ready. His shot isn't quick. His motion takes a while to kind of wind up, and he isn't able to get this shot off in time. And that takes away a potential assist for Darryn Peterson. Gets downhill, forces the defense to help, makes the right pass. Trey White just doesn't shoot the ball and ends up taking a pretty terrible mid-range shot, but gets bailed out by the foul call. Now let's see what happens when Darryn actually is able to get downhill. There's no one in the driving lanes. He is able to get downhill. This time he's going to get a little dribble handoff, screen from Tiller, gets downhill, finishes a tough layup. But look where this help defender is, completely helping off of Melvin Council in the corner. So leaving him wide open in order to help at the rim once Darryn blows by his initial defender. So Darryn gets downhill. He gets past his defender, gets past this screen defender. But this defender is in the lane helping completely off Melvin Council, and it forces, instead of this layup being completely uncontested at the rim like it will be in the NBA when you have a shooter in the corner who can actually make defenses respect his shot. But instead, it's contested, and Darryn makes it anyway because he's just that talented. I kind of just wanted to highlight here what happens when Darryn's off the court, what Kansas' offense looks like. Council gets the screen, rejects the screen from Badunga, tries to get downhill, but once again, you've got guys all in the lane helping off their defenders, leaving guys wide open on the perimeter in order to stop drives. So, Council kicks it out to Trey White. He's not able to get the shot off because Missouri, and then drives off of the shot fake. And then Missouri helping off of everyone once again. You got 4 guys helping out in the lane on this drive, leaving 3 guys wide open on the perimeter. So then Trey White's going to make the pass out to Council. Doesn't shoot the wide open three. Marco Jackson finally shoots the wide open three. Jamari McDowell shoots the wide open three, and he can't knock it down. Just not adequate shooting on this Kansas roster. We saw it all season long. Another play here with Darryn off the court. You got a little handoff from Melvin Council, who drives into 3 dudes, once again helping in the lane. This is designed to space the floor out and leave room for Council to get downhill to the rim. But instead, these 3 Missouri defenders down here just stay in the lane because they're not worried about Jamari McDowell shooting 3, and they're not worried about Marco Jackson shooting 3, and they leave Trey White too. So they just completely sag into the paint, leave Marco wide open on the perimeter. Kansas moves it around. No one's willing to shoot the shot. You've got at least 2 wide open shots that weren't taken here. Missouri's closing out soft. And then Kansas forced into bad offense here. I'm not sure what actually ends up happening here. I guess it's a foul, I guess, but still not good offensive process. Someone has to be willing to take and make a 3. All right, this one we got Darryn back on the court. Gives it up, moves off ball. He eventually gets it back, and he tries to get downhill. Gets cut off, but look at this spacing down here. When he tries to get downhill, this guy sags completely off Marco Jackson. You've got 2 bigs down low clogging the paint, Tiller and Badunga, so there's nowhere for Darryn Peterson to go. Even if he beats his man, he can't get all the way to the rim. It's impossible. It's impossible to get all the way to the rim when you've got this much space in the paint taken up by 2 bigs, and then you've also got a dude gapping, helping completely off of your shooter in the corner. Like, what's he supposed to do here? How is he supposed to get rim pressure and make a play for his teammates if there's no driving lanes? So he's forced to give it up. It ends in a Cole Rosario turnover. Here's another play. Missouri pressing. Kansas breaks the press. Darryn gets the ball back. Kicks out to an open shooter. Can't knock it down. And then Darren's going to try and drive. He's got nowhere to go. He's got 2 defenders getting sent to him every time he tries to drive. They send 2 at him once again. And then you've got a guy gapping on this drive here, helping completely off of Trey White. Wide open. Darryn makes the pass, then someone finally knocks down a 3 for Kansas. So to this point in the game, having Darryn Peterson on ball just isn't working because no one else is willing to take and make shots consistently on this Kansas team other than Darryn. So what do? You have to move him off ball, and now he's the one receiving these hopefully open passes for open shots. And that's exactly what happens here. Although he's not completely open, and this is a very deep shot, this is the only way that Kansas really could generate good offense, by putting someone else on the ball, having them try to create an advantage, and then Darryn becomes a play finisher because he's the only play finisher on the team, really, that can make defenses pay for overplaying on drives or screens, rolls. He's the only one that can consistently make the defense pay. Once again here, another example of Missouri completely crowding the lane and leaving Kansas players wide open. When Darryn gets the screen and splits the defense like he's so good at, gets downhill, and this should be either a clear runway for Darryn to finish this layup, or maybe one guy's down here and then he drops it off to Trey White, cutting to the basket. But what actually happens is 3 Missouri defenders sink into the paint and all get in Darryn's way. And Darryn somehow gets the ball up and over to Trey White, cutting. But Trey White just can't finish the play. Another potential assist Kansas team that Peterson's teammates couldn't take advantage of. But look at this spacing. You've got 3 dudes helping off of all of these Kansas players who are wide open on the perimeter. How is Darryn supposed to get downhill and put pressure on the rim? And even when he does, and he makes a play for his teammates, a lot of the times they couldn't finish the play, as we see here. I just want you to look at all the attention that Darryn draws when he has the ball in his hands. He gets it right here. Tries to get past his man, but runs into another defender in the gap, taking away his drive. So leaving Council wide open once again because they know he can't shoot. Jamari McDowell's wide open in the corner too. So this guy's helping out as well. So you got a clogged lane, and this time Darryn just decides, I'm going to spin and get into my fadeaway. And he knocks this one down. But he's forced into these tough shots because he can't get all the way to the rim because of the spacing from this Kansas offense. And you're never going to see spacing like this in the NBA. You can't find a single NBA team that allows defenses to sag in the paint like this with all of their players. Like, all 5 of their players are either in or a foot or two away from being in the paint. And that's just not what you're going to see with Darryn's teammates at the next level. This was really interesting. As you see Darryn come get this DHO, you've got Badunga rolling here. They got 2 guys on Darryn Peterson. So in theory, Badunga should be wide open on this roll. But no, instead, you've got this guy helping off of Council in the corner once again and taking away this roll. So Darryn can't make that pass. So instead, he waits for the defender to recover to the big man to recover to his man. And then plants his foot, gets downhill. But look at the spacing once again. You've got a big man here, this guy helping off of Council in the corner. And then you've got this big man also down here crowding the lane with Tiller because they don't have enough shooters to space the floor. And so you got Darryn driving into 3 defenders basically with one on his hip. And because there are 3 defenders down there, he can't get all the way to the rim, and he ends up having to pick up his dribble a little bit early and take this tough lefty floater that he makes because he has great touch. But, I mean, this is just a super difficult shot to have to take, and it's because of how crowded the lane is down there. In a perfect world in the NBA, you get guys spaced out on the perimeter over here, and then you got Darryn able to get downhill without anyone helping off of their shooter. So better spacing is going to completely change the way Darryn's able to get downhill and either finish at the rim or draw help and find an open shooter in the corner. This time, Darryn gets a ball screen, Tiller slips it, and Missouri's just going to send 2 at Darryn Peterson and try and get the ball out of his hands. And eventually, Darryn gives it up, finds Badunga. And so you've got these 2 guys out of the play because they doubled Darryn. And now what you should have is a 1, 2, 3, 4 on 1, 2, 3 Missouri defenders. And so this should be advantage Kansas. You should be able to find Trey White here in the corner for an open 3. But instead, because Trey White doesn't trust his shot enough or isn't comfortable enough shooting threes off the catch, he decides he's going to kind of sink in, not space out to the three-point line. You see him down here. He catches it here instead of in the corner for a wide open 3. And now that ruins your advantage. You no longer have the advantage because it allows this guy to recover and take away Tiller, but also come over when Trey White gets the ball. And Trey White ends up getting fouled, but it's not a good process. In the NBA, you're going to have a shooter spaced in the corner here, and Badunga makes this cross-court pass all the way over to a shooter who takes and makes that 3 most of the time. Now we'll end it off with this one. This time, Darryn Peterson's finally the one who gets left open off ball. And for some reason, 2 guys go at Trey White. They leave Darryn wide open up here. He gets it. And by the time the ball gets to him, he actually has a defender right in his face. But for him, he doesn't even see him. Once he gets into his shot, and you give him this much space, he's got a quick release. And that's going in most of the time. So that's the tape on Darryn Peterson. Overall, just a very unfortunate situation all around. Not just in terms of the health stuff, but also just the the roster construction and the team that was put around him at Kansas definitely did not make him look as good as he can. And I think in the NBA, with better spacing, better shooters around him, the concerns about like him not being able to get to the rim and not passing enough and his assist numbers not being high enough, I think we'll see a lot of that start to like figure itself out and show that Darryn Peterson really can make plays for others. He was just in a tough situation to do that at Kansas. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe and let me know your thoughts in the comments.